Good morning, students. So, today we are back again to study science of class 9. In our last class, students, we were discussing about a healthy person and a disease-free person. Do you remember? We studied that healthy and disease-free is not same, okay? And we also studied about some kind of diseases, as for example, acute diseases and also chronic diseases, is not it? So now students, do you remember what are the causes of diseases? The causes of diseases may be many of different types, is not it? It might be because of some organism or it may also be because of some conditions. Okay. Now let us know what are the causes of diseases. Virus. These days our first and foremost topic, that is the burning issue of the entire world, is what? COVID-19, is not it? It is the coronavirus, novel coronavirus. This virus is creating such an havoc to our place or to our world, is not it? This is a type of microorganism which is causing disease. That particular disease which we know as COVID-19, is not it? Or coronavirus, it is causing COVID-19. So, virus, there are many different types of viruses in the world which are discovered and some are also yet to be discovered. That means some are already left to be discovered. These are the main agents which cause diseases in human beings. Okay. The other is the bacteria. We all know that bacteria also cause diseases, okay, but not all bacteria. Some bacteria are useful ones also, but there are some bacteria which cause diseases to human beings. Unclean drinking water, this is actually a condition or a lifestyle of a person. If you take unclean drinking water, then it is going to cause you disease. Improper nourishment, if your nourishment is not proper, if you are not getting proper food, proper minerals, proper vitamins, then you are also going to have diseases. Poor household conditions, as we studied in our last class, to become a healthy person or to have a good health, our economic condition is also very important, is not it? If your household condition is not good, if our household condition is a little bit difficult one, then it is we have the more chance to get easily means infected by diseases. Genetic difference, some diseases are also there which are generally genetic. Okay, genetic means which transfers from one generation to the other generation. Okay, now there are some diseases, as for example color blindness. Color blindness, you have heard about it. It is a disease in which people cannot see particular colors. Okay, so this kind of diseases are generally hereditary or genetic. That means we say, it is present in his gene or her gene. So genetic means it comes from its future past generation and it will travel to its future generation. That means if I am having a genetic disease, my parents might also have the same. Okay, or if my parents are not having that disease, my grandparents may have that disease, and also I may transfer this disease to my children. Okay, so these kind of diseases are called, which are generally transferred from parents to their children, are called genetic diseases. Okay, due to these reasons also there may be some diseases. And poor public services, that means in the place which you are living, your hygienic condition is not good, your public service is not good. Public service means, that means the availability of drinking water which you are taking, toilet, the entire surroundings of your place, if it is not a hygienic one, then also you are going to have diseases. Now children, so you all know that we are discussing our chapter 13 of our science textbook, that is why do we fall ill. We have discussed the first part of this chapter in our last class. We are now going to discuss the second part, that is part 2 of this chapter, why do we fall ill, in our this continuing class. Okay. Now diseases, they generally are of, you can see that when you talk about diseases, you can see that how diseases are exactly caused. Okay, for disease to cause, there are generally two types of causes of diseases. That means if I ask you why do we have disease, then you can say we have two types of cause due to which we will have disease. One is immediate cause. Immediate cause means because there was something which came inside your body immediately and you had disease. Okay, that means, as for example, if I am having common cold, suppose if I am having cough, okay, if somebody comes near me, then what will happen? I will immediately transfer, I may transfer that my disease to that person. Is not it? So immediately my disease can transfer. Okay, so first cause is the immediate cause of transfer. Okay, now the second cause is the contributory cause. Contributory cause means the cause which actually contributes you to have disease. Okay, contributes means it makes disease to come. That means it creates good conditions for disease to come. It creates a hospitable condition for disease to come. That means that, suppose, as for example, if you are not taking your food well, if you are not having your food well, if you are not having good surroundings, if you are not having good hygienic conditions, and if you are also not having clean drinking water, then these things may lead you to have many diseases. Okay, these are called as contributory cause. That means they contribute you to have diseases. But immediate cause are those causes which are generally seen that it is immediately something comes inside your body and it is causing disease. Okay, but contributory cause, these causes, they generally contribute. These are conditions. Okay, now diseases may have more than one cause. There are also many diseases which generally have more than one cause. That means only for one cause only you cannot say that we are having disease. There may be many causes. Okay, as for example, if I am suffering from influenza, suppose, you know what is influenza? It is a fever, is not it? So if I am not taking my food properly, if I am not taking water properly, then I have many chance of getting influenza. If I go to a person who is having influenza, if I meet a person or if I interact a person who is having influenza, then I may also have influenza. Okay, if I go to that person, the microorganisms of influenza will come inside my body immediately. So that was the immediate cause. Okay, and moreover, I was not taking food properly, I was not taking care of myself. Those were the contributory cause. And also maybe I may be poor also, I don't have proper food to eat, proper water to drink. So these are contributory causes of diseases. So generally we see, children, the diseases are not only caused of because of one cause in particular. Okay, there may be two or three causes because of which you can see disease in a person. Now, do all diseases spread to people because of being contact with sick people? That means, now my question is that, do all the diseases of human beings spread to from one person to another only because of being contact with sick people? Think of this question, children. What will be the answer? And the answer is that no. This is because all diseases do not spread to people only because of being contact with sick people. It is not like that if you go to a sick people you will have disease, no doubt. But all diseases are not because you are going near a sick people. Some sick person, okay, some diseases are also there which have no relation with sick person. Okay, suppose, as for example, I am having fever. If you come to me, you are going to have also fever. You have chances to have fever. Okay, but if suppose, for example, I am having high blood pressure or diabetes, will you get diabetes if you come near me? No. There are also some diseases which do not transfer because of you are coming near that sick person. Okay, now, if all diseases don't spread in contact with a sick person, how does it transfer to people then? Now, as I said you the example of diabetes, okay? The example of diabetes. Diabetes. So this diabetes is a disease, okay? It does not transfer from one person to another if you go near the diabetic person. Now, how will this disease transfer in? What is the reason because of which this disease will transfer? Do you have any idea, children? What may be the reason because of which this disease might transfer from one person to another? And moreover, think of one more question. What are diseases that do not spread because of being contact of people or with people are called? Now you have come to know that diabetes is a disease which will not transfer if you go to a sick diabetic person. Now what are these type of diseases called, which do not transfer when you go near a sick person? This we will know in the later part of our chapter, okay? Now let us come to a topic that is infectious and non-infectious disease. Now from this name you can find out that infectious means which cause infection, okay? Non-infectious means which is generally not occurring because of some infection, okay? Now let us know what is the difference of this infectious and non-infectious disease. Infectious disease. What are infectious diseases? The diseases which spread due to a group of infectious agents are called infectious diseases. That means there are some agents. Agents means the one who can cause disease. There are some agents which spread, and because of their spreading, this infectious disease are caused. It spreads from one person to another, and because of this, you will have infectious diseases. These agents are nothing but these are microorganisms. There are very minute microorganisms which will transfer from one person to another, and because of these only you are going to have infectious disease. They spread because microbes can spread very easily to the community. Now we all know that microorganisms are very small organisms, is not it? We will not see them, and they also can travel anywhere. Okay, so what happens when microorganisms travel? They have the property that they can spread very easily. They spread very easily. So because of this reason, infectious disease also spread very easily. The disease also spread along with microbes. So actually microbes, what they do, they carry this disease with them. As microbes can travel very fast, because of this reason only, these diseases which are attached to these microbes are also traveling very fast. And these diseases are called infectious disease. If I ask you what is infectious disease, what will be your answer? The diseases which spread due to a group of infectious agents, that is microorganisms, are called infectious disease. Some examples are common cold, viral fever, diarrhea, etc. That means common cold, fever, these things, what they happen? Fever, common cold, they are generally caused because of some microbes. Some microbes are responsible for these diseases. When microbes travel from one person to another, then this disease also travels. Because of this disease is known as, this type of diseases are known as infectious disease. That means you can have an infection from someone, then you can have this disease. Our next type is non-infectious disease. What is non-infectious disease? These diseases are not spread through any infectious agents. That means microbes. Agents means microbes. Okay. Infectious agents do not carry this disease. Then how do this disease travel then? Their cause may vary. That means they have many different kind of causes. Their causes are mostly internal. Internal means what is going on inside your body, the conditions what that is going on inside your body. That means either your health may not be good, either you are having poor nourishment, either you are not having proper vitamins, minerals in your body. Then because of this reason, or you might be also having some genetic problem. Okay, for these reasons, these non-infectious diseases, they generally come into our body. These diseases are non-infectious as well. They do not cause any infection. That means if a person having a non-infectious disease goes to a healthy person, that healthy person will not have this disease or will not get this disease. But if a person having infectious disease, as for example common cold, viral fever, goes to a healthy person, that person may have, or he or she may get this disease. Examples are high blood pressure. High blood pressure, we say no, high BP, he's having a high BP. That means high blood pressure. High blood pressure do not transfer from one person to another simply. If your somebody is having high blood pressure, if you go near to that person, you are not going to have high blood pressure, because the reason why that person is having high BP or high blood pressure is because of his internal reasons. Some internal problems are going on inside his body or her body, so that person is having high blood pressure. You will not get high blood pressure if you go near that person, but if you go near a person who is having viral fever, you might get that disease. Another example is cancer. We all know that if we go near a cancer patient, if we talk with a cancer patient, if we eat with a cancer patient, we are not going to have cancer. Okay? Cancer do not transfer like this. Cancer occurs because there is some problem inside the body of that person, not because he or she has interacted with a cancer patient. Now, what are infectious diseases? We have already discussed, children. Infectious diseases are caused by agents which can spread easily from person to person. You know what are these agents? These agents are microbes, and these are like bacteria, viruses, protozoans, etc. We were talking about agents. What are these agents? These agents are actually the microbes. Microbes are microorganisms. The examples of these are bacteria, viruses, and protozoans. Protozoans, you know what are protozoans? They are also one type of microorganism. Not only microbes, some diseases are also caused by some multicellular organisms like worms. So children, students, don't think that infectious disease only occurs because of microbes. Okay, not only microbes, some bigger animals can also cause infectious disease, as for example worms. Worms are multicellular organisms, and some type of disease are also there which can be caused by worms, and these are infectious disease. That means if you go to that person or if you interact with that person who is having this disease, you may also get that disease from by interacting with that person. Now we were talking about these infectious agents, as for example microbes, bacteria, viruses, protozoans, etc. So what are these infectious agents actually? We have already talked that these agents like bacteria, virus, protozoans, these are called what? Infectious agents, because they can spread diseases very soon. So children, these agents, these organisms are called infectious agents because they can spread disease very soon. That means they can cause infection very fast. Because of this reason only, we call these bacteria, virus, and protozoans as infectious agents. Viruses live inside human cell or host cell. Now one type is virus, you have come to know. Virus, what they do? They live inside human cell. You have read about cell in your earlier classes. These viruses, they stay inside the cell of a human. Okay. And bacteria, what they do? They rarely stay inside the host cell. That means inside the human cell. Bacteria generally they do not like to stay inside the cell of the body, but viruses they generally stay inside. Viruses and bacteria, though they are little different, but what they will do, they can multiply very fast. From 1 you will see 2, then from 2 you will see 4, from 4 you will see 16, from 16 you will see 32. Like this they multiply very fast they multiply. Okay, worms also multiply slowly in comparison. We have read about worms, that worms can also cause your infectious disease. Okay, so these worms also they are responsible for carrying infectious diseases, and these worms, what they do, they do not multiply very fast as bacteria and viruses did. They multiply slowly. Okay, so because worms are a little bit of higher organisms than bacteria and virus, so they multiply slowly in comparison. So children, what happens? Bacteria and virus both are not similar. Okay, one lives inside the human cell, one lives outside the human cell. So because of this reason, the transfer of bacteria and the transfer of virus is also not same. Diseases caused by bacteria, virus, and protozoans are also not similar to one another. See, their lifestyle is only different. So their transfer is also different, and because of this reason, the diseases which are caused by bacteria, virus and protozoans, they are not same to one another. And because these diseases are not same, therefore their treatment is also not same. And in fact, their drugs are also not same. Drugs means medicines. Their medicines are also different. Now children, let us learn about different types of diseases which are caused by viruses. The one and foremost example of disease which is caused by virus is now the trending or ongoing one, that is COVID-19. Okay. Some more examples are common cold, influenza, as we have been always reading about influenza, common cold, and also dengue fever. These are generally caused by viruses. These type of diseases are generally caused by viruses. And children, can you name one more disease caused by virus? There are many diseases. One of the most important disease caused by virus is AIDS, or this AIDS is called acquired immunodeficiency syndrome. This is the name of the disease, and the virus which causes this disease is HIV, that is human immunodeficiency virus. Now let us learn about the diseases which are caused by bacteria. One example is typhoid. Typhoid is a bacterial disease. Next is your cholera. Cholera is also a disease which is caused due to bacteria. The third is tuberculosis, which we also known as TB. TB. We also say it to be TB. TB is also caused because of bacteria. And fourth is anthrax. Anthrax is another disease which is caused because of bacterial infection. Children, these diseases are there in your book, in your textbook. You read about those diseases, the different types of these diseases I have mentioned here. If you do not understand, we are again going to discuss about this, okay? Now, let us learn about the diseases which are caused by fungi. There are many diseases caused by fungi. Some of them are common skin infections. Generally, you will see that people having skin infections, they are generally of fungal infections. Okay, some people have white straps on their skin, some also have patchy skin. These are some kind of skin diseases or skin infections which are caused because of fungi. We are discussing about different types of diseases which are caused by different types of microorganisms. First, we have discussed about viruses, second of bacteria, third is fungi, okay, or fungus in singular. Then the second one is ringworm. Ringworm is a disease which is caused because of a fungi. In your textbook, you will see the diagram of a person having ringworm. We will be discussing in detail in our upcoming classes. Our next type is diseases caused by protozoa. What are the diseases which are caused by protozoa generally? Malaria. Malaria is a disease which is caused due to a protozoa. Okay, and Kala Azar. Kala Azar is also another type of disease which is caused because of a protozoa. These protozoan bring infections towards human beings. Now, the last one is diseases caused by intestinal worms. That means intestinal worms means there are some worms which stay inside the entire intestine of a human body. The example is elephantiasis. We have discussed about elephantiasis in our last class. What happens here? The limb of or the foot of the person swells. Okay, this is a type of disease which is caused because of worms. Now children, as we have come to know that if bacteria infects you, if virus infects you, your medicine is not going to be same, because bacteria and virus is not same to one another. So the medicines are also going to be different. Now, what medicine will you put or will you take if you are suffering from infection of bacteria? One type of drug or medicine which we will take is antibiotics. Okay, so children, do not confuse antibiotics with diseases caused by virus. If you take antibiotics while the disease is caused by virus, then it is not going to work. It only works for bacterial infection. Let us see how. These drugs are taken generally for bacterial infection only. Okay, now how these works, how antibiotics generally work. what happens? It blocks the biochemical pathway that are important for the bacteria, and it also destroys their body part. Biochemical pathways means there are some certain reactions going on inside the bacteria which helps the bacteria to digest its food, to reproduce it, then to also excrete it. Everything is helped because of some biochemical functions. Now what these antibiotics do, they go and they destroy, or they cause difficulty of the bacteria to undergo this type of body functions. So because of this reason they cannot perform well, and their body parts get destroyed. For example, bacteria prepare cell wall for their protection. Okay, you have come to know that not only plants but bacteria also have cell wall on their body. And this bacteria, they generally what they do, they prepare cell wall on their body so that they can protect them. And this antibiotic, one antibiotic example is their penicillin, which is the most famous antibiotic till discovered. It destroys the cell wall of the bacteria. The cell wall of the bacteria is being destroyed by this penicillin. We can see these in our the different types of laboratory experiments, that penicillin antibiotic, it can destroy the cell wall of bacteria. Then what happens? So the bacteria dies because it fails to produce its cell wall. So it cannot produce its cell wall. If its cell wall gets destroyed, the new cell wall, it is very difficult to produce. And what happens? Finally the bacteria dies. So when you take antibiotics, what will happen? Thus, first and foremost, we cannot kill the bacteria directly, no. So that's why what we have done, we have taken antibiotic, then it will go and destroy the cell wall of the bacteria, and after that the bacteria will also be destroyed, because an organism which has cell wall, it cannot live without cell wall. Now children, tell me, will this antibiotic penicillin, we have been talking about penicillin, work on human beings? Will this also work on human beings? Think about it, children. The answer is no. So why it will not work on human beings? Why do penicillin does not work on human beings? It only works on plants. The reason is that human beings do not have cell wall, is not it? The function of this antibiotic penicillin is to destroy the cell wall of the bacteria. We do not have any cell wall. So what he will come and destroy? Because of that reason only, this antibiotic penicillin does not work on human body. Will antibiotics work for viruses? These antibiotics, as we have come to know, that penicillin antibiotic will not work on human being, as we do not have any cell wall. So nothing is going to get destroyed. But now let us know that will this antibiotic come and work for viruses? The answer is also no here. Because we have already come to know that antibiotic works only for bacteria. For viruses it is not going to work. Because viruses do not have biochemical pathways. Viruses, they do not undergo any biochemical pathway as these bacteria undergo. So as there is no pathway, penicillin destroys that biochemical pathway. If pathway is only not there, what it will destroy? So antibiotics, they do not work for viruses. What will happen if you take antibiotic in viral fever? Suppose children, I am having viral fever too much. Okay, so what will happen if I take antibiotic in viral fever? Should I take antibiotic in viral fever? Should I take? It will not work, simply. Because why it will not work, children? Because it is an antibiotic and you are taking in viral fever. Antibiotics don't work for viruses. Okay, it will not work for virus. It only works for bacteria. If you take antibiotic for viral fever, it will not going to work. If you take antibiotics for common cold, then it will work, because common cold is a bacterial infection. Common cold, which we generally have every year, this kind of cold is called common cold. If you take antibiotics in common cold, then you might get cured, because you are being affected by bacteria only, and this penicillin, it is self-sufficient to kill bacteria cell wall. Okay, bacterial cell wall. So if you take antibiotics in common cold, it will work. But if you go and take antibiotic in viral infection or viral fever, it is not going to work. Our next one topic is communicable and non-communicable disease. From the word itself, we have come to know that communicable means you can get it communicated. That means when you talk with one person to another, you interact with one person to another, then what happens? This type of disease communicates. And non-communicable disease, they generally do not communicate. Now let us know the difference. Communicable diseases. These are infectious diseases that spread from person to person. It is similar to that of infectious disease. It also transfers from person to person. They spread because microorganisms can easily get transferred from one person to another. These microorganisms, they are able to transfer from one person to another very soon, very fast. So because of this reason, what happens? This communicable disease also transfers along with the microbes. So we have seen that this communicable disease is one type of infectious disease. They spread or communicated from an infected person to the other healthy person. So it is called communicable disease. What happens? It communicates or it transferred from an infected person to a healthy person. It transfers from a person who is infected with that virus or who is infected with that disease, then it will transfer the disease to the other person or to the other healthy person. So these are known as communicable diseases. As for example, common cold, COVID-19, these are communicable diseases. They generally transfer from one person to another. Children, can you think for some more examples of communicable diseases? There are many. One is influenza, one is tuberculosis, the other one is pneumonia, then the other one is malaria, then AIDS, and then chicken pox. So these are some diseases which you can get from a different person through different sources. The next is non-communicable disease. Now what is non-communicable disease? Non-communicable diseases are that are not transferred directly from one person to another. It is not transferred from one person to another directly. We have come to know the non-communicable diseases. What they do, they come to work if only you are not having some communicable diseases. That means, let us see here. These are non-infectious diseases that are not caused by microbes. That means these non-communicable diseases you are going to have because of some conditions, your health conditions, your food conditions, your homely conditions, because of these reasons. So they do not spread easily. These diseases do not spread easily. Students, you please note down these points which I have been writing here. If you need, you can also post a video, then you can look it and write. There are some examples of non-communicable diseases. Those are cancer, diabetes, nutrition deficiency, hypertension, etc. These type of diseases, they do not transfer from one person to another. Now children, we were discussing about that what are diseases that do not spread because of being contact with people. I asked you a question earlier in this class, that what will you call the diseases which do not spread because of direct contact with people? We have learned about it, is not it? Now we have learned about it. The diseases which do not spread because of being contact with people are simply called non-communicable diseases. The one which do not carries any communication. If you are also being in contact with a person and you are having non-communicable disease, that means the person did not give you that disease. Because of some internal problems, you are having that disease. Now, if all diseases don't spread in contact with a sick person, how will it transfer to people? See, we have come to know that some diseases only transfer from one person to another because of there is some virus protozoa there. Okay, those are communicable diseases. But there are also some diseases which do not spread if you come in direct control. Suppose, as for example, I have a non-communicable disease. If you come near me, you are not going to have that disease. Okay, if I have a communicable disease, then only you will have. What happens? It spreads because of other deficiency in the body. Generally what happens, because of some internal factors, this type of diseases now they have started spreading. Now children, in our next class we will be learning about how do diseases spread among people. There are different modes of traveling of diseases. We will be discussing about this topic in our next class. I hope you have understood well. If not, please do ask me all your doubts. So here this is again to clear once more that diseases, they do not spread because of direct contact with people, are not called non-communicable disease. And if all diseases do not transfer, if you are contact with a person or a sick person, how will this disease transfer? This may transfer if you have some other problems. If you have some internal problems, your bodily problems, if you have, then you are going to suffer this kind of diseases. Okay, so thank you children for your concentration. We will meet in our next class.